Hi, welcome to another TerranScapes mini review. Today we're going to be taking a look at Poly-optic 1411. This is a specialty optically clear casting resin. So this is Poly-optic 1411. Now this particular resin is mixed at a 1:1 by volume, but it's important to note that there are other formulations of Poly-optic and they may have different mixing ratios. So again, it's always important, read the directions, read the technical information that comes with these products. But this is a very low viscosity casting resin. It even says it right here. It has, now if you're not familiar, viscosity is measured in CPS. I can't remember what it stands for, but water has a 0. This has a 600, and that may sound like a lot, but it's not. It's very, very thin. Envirotex, by comparison, which is a common resin that people use for gloss coating things, is by my best estimate, I can't find the technical data on it, but I think it's around about 1800. All right, so this is much, much thinner than Envirotex. The Poly 1411 is their formulation that is the most friendly for very, very thin applications. So some of the compounds work really well if you're going to make you're going to cast a bottle like this in crystal clear resin. But others, this one in particular, are designed to be better used at thin layers. So the thing about this, though, is that you can adjust its cure time and retard it, I should say, with different additives that they sell. And the reason why I point that out is typically this has, well, it says it right here, a 9-minute pot life with a 30-minute demold. Now that's true if you are making a solid pour. In my test today, I applied some, and I'm going to talk about this in just a second, but I did a test where I also just left a bunch in a cup to make sure that it was curing properly according to the directions. Well, nice and clear that is. There are a few bubbles in there, and that's because of degassing issues, which aren't really related to my project, but they do recommend that if you are going to make a casting, that you degas it and that you also pressure cast it. So I'm just going to put that out there as a caveat. But this set up in 30 minutes, the way the directions say. So clearly, what I'm observing is that when the layers get thinner and thinner, it is taking longer and longer to set up. What do I mean by that? So let's take a look at my test board here, and I'll explain a little bit about what was going on. Oh boy, yeah, black. I painted the board black so that I could see bubbles against it better than if I had painted it white, but I don't know if that's the best for photography. Okay, I'm gonna go right with that. So I've had these bottles for a while, all right? So again, here's a caveat, right? They're moisture sensitive. So this bottle, I've seen other resins do this before. This usually indicates that it's absorbed moisture because it's pulled it from the atmosphere and the bottle collapses as a result. So I did a test mix of a very small amount, and this was my initial pour for that. And if you notice, you can see that there are some bubbles that formed when it was setting up. Another indication that it's been contaminated by moisture. Plus, it took forever for these thin layers to set, and I mean forever. And this was the same that I showed on the ocean board in a previous video. And by forever, I mean overnight with a warming lamp on it. Quick comment on that. These materials are mass sensitive, basically. So when you have more and more material in a volume, it creates a chain reaction. Envirotex does this, a lot of things do this. So it begins to warm up, and the warmer it gets, the faster it cures, and the faster it cures, the more heat it releases. So you get a runaway chain reaction. So this material got, quite warm in this cup. Not obviously too warm, but, and in fact, it even says it has a maximum, which I thought was kind of cool, that it has a maximum temperature of exotherming at 228 degrees. So it won't get hotter than that, which is good to know because some materials will melt the plastic cup they're in when they get that hot. Not that hot, but you know, as hot as they get. So I suspect that this material is more mass, we call that being mass sensitive, right? More mass, the faster stuff happens. It's more sensitive than any other material I've used because it actually slows down curing when there's not enough mass. Now they have an accelerant that you could add, which I think might be important for this application because, like I said, it took forever. But I thought it might also be because there was moisture contamination. So I did something that I am not going to recommend. All right, notice this is not a recommendation. But I decided to decant some of this and try and dehydrate it. So I put this into a large container in the oven at 170 degrees. I had some dehumidifying material, my damp gun. I did a review on that several videos back, and I needed to dry that out too. So I threw that in there and I tried to heat it to strip the moisture off of it. It was a small amount in a container. I swished it, you know, every half hour or so to expose more surface area to it. And this was the pour that I did from that. Oh, and this was that heated and then mixed pour, bubble free, except for the bubbles that didn't come out when I mixed it. You know, that's just a mixing issue. And here you can see the area that was done, you know, with my dehumidifying action. And the important thing to note is that A, there are no bubbles in it the way there are here. So I feel like that was actually a success. And B, this set up much, much faster. Even here where it was a little thicker, this took hours and hours to set. This set up pretty much within the proper time frame, about maybe 45 minutes. And then there are some ultra thin layers down here, and those are still just a little bit tacky, but by comparison, it's curing at least twice as fast as this did. So my suspicion is that the moisture is retarding the curing, which can happen with resins, and of course is also creating those bubbles. So that's a little experiment background on my foray into polyoptic. What do I think about it as a property, as a material? Well, first of all, this is beautiful. You know, look at that. It's a super, super nice, clear resin. And I think if you need a clear casting application, it's really going to serve you well. The other comparison is, and what led me on to this product, and I'll talk about it briefly at the end as well, but I wanted to coat this surface and make it highly glossy. All right, I wanted that to have a nice, beautiful gloss. This is actually Envirotex, and Envirotex, you know, it has a glossy back as you see here, but I'm pouring it into a mold, and when I demold it, the surface has a very matte finish when it comes right out of the mold. So I wanted to bring that back up to a high luster, and this was when I bought the Poly-optic. Well, that's why this is a little dusty, and I made an initial test with it. And this was the result that I got. And that is exactly what I was looking for. I wanted something that was going to cling to all the details in the waves and was going to give that beautiful glint when the light struck the waves. So that's what led me to get it. Of course, this was a few months back, so it sat, so it ended up like this. So then it ended up like this. So then I wanted to make it end up like this, and I think I'm good to go. So I'll be actually warming this, the rest of this before I use it, and putting it in the vacuum chamber before I pour it. And the last thought, all right, I told myself, follow the script, don't go long. So here we go. When you degas it, all right, if you've ever degassed a rubber or a resin, the bubbles start to rise, and when they rise, I mean, it gets frothy, and depending on the material, you know, this would not be enough space. It would rise that high. This actually rose almost to the top before it collapsed. I think that's actually a great way to add a little extra mixing to it, because all of those bubbles are forming in all these different areas, and as they rise, they're creating, currents within the material itself. So it's almost like an extra mixing process and pulls those big bubbles out. So I think it's an easy thing to say is that I would recommend that as part of the process, even if you're not looking for a perfect, solid, crystal clear casting, like if you made a whole bottle like this. So, all right, that's too much, but that gives you an idea of the Poly-optic, why I've chose it, problems I had with it, how I think I fixed it, and a little bit about what it looks like. So that gives you a tiny bit of a look at a Poly-optic and some of the things that I've learned about it since I've started using it. I should add that the pricing for the pint kit is $45. If you want to get the gallon kit, which would be, a gallon of each, that's $245. So that is a pricey resin. It's the most expensive resin that I have used to date, but it is also the most specialty oriented. So I just want to put in a caveat. I would not recommend this resin for general water effects. All right, this is only come into my, what do you call it? My kit, I guess, because I needed something unique for the ocean boards that would give a rock hard finish that's perfectly clear, that doesn't slump when it sets. So this sets up faster than Envirotex, and it takes a thin coating really, really well, so it doesn't bead up and pull away, which were some issues that I was having with Envirotex, which is why I looked for something else. So, it's really for if you have a specialty use. Typically it's used for casting, objects in a clear resin, and you want it to be like crystal clear. You can get this product from Brick in the Yard, and I feel like I should give them a plug for two reasons. One, I could not get this product through Smooth On. I mean, not this exact product, but a similar one. They have a crystal clear resin, but it's like, oh, you got to call them because it's hazardous. And I was like, look, I don't call people. I order it. I don't want to deal with you if I have to get permission to buy it or something. Not bashing Smooth On. I buy a ton of stuff from them, and they've been a very good company, but I just didn't want to do that. So I was looking around. Oh, Brick in the Yard. They have a crystal clear resin. And it's nice to be able to give them a little bit of business because I have learned so much from their videos. They do sell mold making and casting materials. They do a great series of videos. So I totally recommend you check out their channel if you're interested in mold making. And they have a few products that are unique that are not available through, say, Smooth On. And their compositions for their resins and how they adjust them, in terms of casting times and setting times and all that stuff, and it's a little bit different. So I recommend that you take a look at their videos and see if their products make a good fit for you. And it's nice to be able to have another avenue to pursue for products, because even though I'm like a lot of people, I just default to this works, I know it, I stick with it, aka Smooth On. It's nice to dabble in another business that has given me so much, and I'd like to just give them a little bit back and say thank you. So that's enough. Here's all the info, Q&A, rapid fire critique, Patreon, if you want to go. You don't have to be a patron, but I just updated recently the monthly column list, and that's public access, and it has a quick, easy access to all of the monthly columns I've written so far. There's quite a few, and they're easy to find. You just maybe you just have to scroll down just a touch on the page to find them, rather than sifting through a year and a half of postings. There's no real easy way to organize it, so that's the best I can do, and I try to update that like every couple months. So thank you once again for joining me. I do appreciate it. And questions and comments down below. I will do my best to answer those questions. Just be patient if I fall behind. And while you're waiting for me to answer that question, hopefully you'll be coming back to me to see what I'll be coming back with in another TerranScapes video. That was a weird ending. I don't know. All right. Did it record? Did I get the audio on that?